Your perception of reality is an elaborate white deception. It's a distorted version of reality created by white social engineering scientists and white propaganda designers to create and sustain false assumptions within a society that aids in maintaining white social capital and white social dominance over the Black population. I realize that this disclosure may be very difficult for many to understand, but in order to emancipate our minds from white mental slavery, we must elevate our thinking above things that literally insult our own intelligence and instead learn of this true social science. The absolute true fact is that your perception of reality is an elaborate white deception. Many people cannot conceptualize the fact that their perception of reality is actually not consistent with true reality. However, the distortion of the perception of reality is possible because the public's perception of reality is not shaped based upon facts nor reality. It's actually shaped by the information that are repetitively fed into the society. Therefore, all that's required to distort the perception of reality is to merely repeatedly feed false information into the society. The public at large will then start functioning based upon the false information rather than the true reality. Many popular perceptions held within a society are shaped through this process. Again, the perception of reality is actually shaped by the information that are repetitively fed into society. Because the white ruling class controls all of the information that are repetitively fed into society, they therefore literally owns the perception of reality itself. They've exploited this scenario and immense position of power by feeding lots of false information into the society that are deliberately designed to create and sustain false assumptions within the society that aids in maintaining their white social capital and white social dominance over the Black population. To meet that objective, they've taught us everything in reverse. In doing so, they've literally whitewashed the perception of reality. The true reality is that FBI data reveals that most violent crimes in the U.S. are in fact committed by Caucasians. Data also reveals that Caucasians are the largest recipient of welfare. Caucasians are also the largest benefactors of affirmative action. And the hidden reality is that in spite of cultural traumas wrought by the injustices of slavery and ongoing white racism, most inventions that have revolutionized the world were in fact either invented by Black people or were directly inspired by early inventions by Black people. This fact is kept from you through the white society's monopoly over information. I'm fully aware that this disclosure is especially difficult to believe, given that we're constantly inundated with fraudulent propaganda portraying Black people as being the leeches of the society that have invented much throughout history. But that's an elaborate white deception. Your perception of reality is an elaborate white deception. You're not seeing reality as it truly is. You're actually seeing the world through an elaborate white created illusionary truth effect. The illusionary truth effect is also called the illusory truth effect. It's when people have been made to believe that false information is true because they're being constantly subjected to the false information. And they begin functioning and perceiving reality based upon the false information rather than what actually is true. The true reality is the exact opposite from everything stated by the white society. They've distorted virtually all facts to falsely exalt their racial group above we Africans. And when I say they lie about everything to meet that objective, I do mean everything. Even their published maps are distorted to make Africa appear 13 times smaller than its true relative size, while making all white countries appear significantly larger than their true sizes. And because Africa is a continent, they distort facts to make Europe appear as being a continent, although it's technically in fact not. The white society sits upon a throne of white exalting and black marginalizing lies. They've also manipulated the world to perceive themselves as being the highest evolved Homo sapiens and to perceive we Africans as being the lowest evolved. But the truth is that we Africans are the only true homogeneous species, scientifically proven, and all other racial groups are actually scientifically classified as Homo sapiens sapiens. Google it, research it. The additional sapiens behind their classification refers to modern humans that evolved from lower subspecies primates. Unlike those other racial groups, we Africans did not evolve from lower primates. We are not a part of the Darwin evolutionary chart. We have always, in fact, been Homo sapiens. All other groups falsely attaches themselves onto we Africans to falsely give themselves a Homo sapien origin. But they're not truly of us. They are primates. Critically think and wake up. Whenever those who clearly despise us and always speaks negatively about us, yet turns around and claim that they came from us, doing so is always a lie that somehow benefits themselves. Everything we've been taught by the white society are lies that serve their interests. According to white social scientists, true power lies in only what's perceived as being true, because people function based upon their perceptions of what's true rather than what actually is true. I know that my disclosures may be a hard pill for many people to swallow, because whenever lies have been repetitively fed to the masses, the truth will seem absolutely ridiculous and a speaker will seem like a raving lunatic. But everything that I've stated are true, but you have to dig deep to find them. Because these noted facts are deliberately withheld from the public records through the white society's monopoly over information. Not because millions of people believe that some things to be true doesn't make those things true. It most often means that they've all received the same false information. And think, whenever all information that we receive comes from those who have proven themselves as being history's most notoriously deceitful, corrupt, and most narcissistic group, and most racist group, then naturally those proclivities will be manifested within the information they present to us. They'll always feed us lies that falsely exalt themselves and falsely marginalizes us, and that serves their many other nefarious agendas. It's the people they are. It's the way they've always been. It's the only way they know how to be. And it's the notoriously deceitful, racist, and narcissistic people they inherently are. This is the truth that many of us have been brainwashed and no longer speak of. The white society sits upon a throne of white exalting and black marginalizing lies. It's an elaborate perception management system. Perception management is a propaganda technique that involves altering the public's perception of reality to suit the objective of the white ruling class. It's an essential part of modern information warfare. As I've already stated, this disclosed perception management system is designed to create and sustain false assumptions within the society that aids in maintaining white social dominance and white social capital over the black population. According to white social scientists, true power lies in only what's perceived as being true rather than actually what is true. As I said before, people function based upon their perceptions of what's true. Therefore, they whitewash the perception of reality in ways that serve the system of white supremacy. Your perception of reality is an elaborate white deception. Those of us who tell you the truth are trying to free you from a mental prison that you don't even know you're trapped within. You've been made to perceive lies as being the truth. And through this nefarious practice, the collective self-esteem of the white masses has been falsely bolstered at the expense of the collective self-esteem of the black masses. The general population doesn't know what's happening. And it doesn't even know. It doesn't know. That is a quote from Noam Chomsky. This nefarious whitewashing practice is called Orwellian propaganda. Orwellian propaganda is an adjective that describes societal conditions created and sustained by disinformation, misinformation, denial of truth, and even the manipulation of the past to falsely exalt Caucasians over the black population. It's a practice by the oppressive white government. White historians justify this unethical practice by merely saying that it's the spoils of war, thus saying that it's customary for conquerors to distort all facts and rewrite history to favor themselves. That's how they justify it. However, the true reason it's being done is much more unethical and much more self-serving of the white oppressive society. Here are the two reasons why it's being done. The first reason is because, according to white social scientists, in order for a dominant population to maintain its position of dominance with the over-subordinate population, the narratives that are fed into a society must endorse the dominant group's current position of social dominance. This means those narratives must falsely exalt the dominant group over the subordinate population. This exaltation of the dominant group subliminally conveys the message that the dominant group is inherently superior and is therefore supposed to rule over its subordinate populations. This is why everything we receive exalts whites. White social scientists describe this nefarious practice as merely instilling a value system into the collective minds of the subordinate populations that makes the subordinate population adhere to the authority and existing infrastructure of the dominant culture. It's all a social science. Now here's a second reason why everything they're doing this to us, this is propaganda. To hold a people in oppression, you have to convince them that they are supposed to be oppressed. That is a quote from the great John Henry Clarke. The white side demoralizes to make us feel less about ourselves, but makes us accept our subordinate status. I've never said that what I teach will be easy for everyone to comprehend. I only said that it will be the absolute black liberating truth that emancipates your mind from white mental slavery. It is time to elevate your minds above the biblical fairy tale and the silly slave syndrome myth and learn the social sciences, the white oppressive forces deployed behind the scenes against our minds. Wake the hell up. One love and peace.